Welcome to Hello Tangent, the podcast where we talk about movies, TV, comics. I have a bubble in my throat. I'm going to keep going.
All right.
And we desperately try to stay on topic. And this is part 3 of my favorite Star Wars. And we're welcoming. Oh, yeah. What am I supposed to say? I'm the host. I'm your host, Clark, a.k.a. the Reverend Michael Snakebite. And I have Garrett back today. That was painful to get through.
You just started laughing. I was like, oh, no.
I just started talking. I had one of those bubbles on their throat that make you talk like this. It's like I could hear it like clear as day. Oh, God. Okay, so yes, we're back for part 3 of my favorite Star Wars. And today we're talking about Return of the Jedi. Woo.
Woo.
Woo. So we decided on this. I know I actually said last week that I was going to be doing Attack of the Clones with Garrett, but we decided to, well, basically you said you were going to just flip a coin. I left it up to you.
I decided because I wanted to do Attack of the Clones, and then I wanted to do my actual favorite, Return of the Jedi, and I realized you hadn't done a prequel yet. Or not a prequel, an original trilogy. So I was like, fuck it, let's go ahead and get one of those out the way.
Yeah, totally agree. Good decision.
Yeah.
So, unlike Rogue One, I rewatched Return of the Jedi last night. So
I watched it 2 days. I watched it for 2 days.
Nice.
So
good. We'll hopefully be prepared because getting through Rogue One, I basically was trying to just remember the plot, and it was just Kat correcting me on everything that was wrong.
You remembered everything from the trailer that was fake.
Yeah, the trailer that didn't come out.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Factoids. I don't think we mentioned that when we talked about Rogue One, how
the fucking Rogue One trailer was fake.
Yeah,
half of it wasn't in the movie.
None of it was used. Okay. Well, let's do the basics first before we jump into this. Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, came out in 1983. It was directed by Richard Marquand, and writers were Lawrence Kasdan and George Lucas, of course. It stars Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher. It's weird to say that out loud because I haven't done a movie with them in it yet. So, saying,
you haven't, have you?
It seems like such a duh. It stars Mark Hamill, but this is actually the first one in the original trilogy we're doing. So, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Billy D. Williams, Anthony Daniels, Peter Mayhew, Sebastian Shaw, who is the one we couldn't think of when we were trying to think of who played old Anakin.
Yeah,
when we were
Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah, Sebastian Shaw, and of course Ian McDiarmid as the great Emperor Palpatine.
Was this the first one? I just want to know. Was this the first one Warwick Davis was in? Because I didn't research that.
What? I don't know.
Because I don't think he's in A New Hope and Empire.
Let's look.
Unless he was an Ugnaught and a Jawa.
Let's look at his IMDb real quick because I'm actually not sure if he was. He's still freaking acting, so
yeah,
he's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's gonna be in the new Willow TV series coming out on Netflix. I don't know if they're doing a series or a movie. I think it's a series.
Let's see how far back we can go. That's kind of funny. He was in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, he's in all of the new ones. He's in Han Solo.
Is he Nub Nub?
No, he's not.
Is that bad to ask?
It sounds kind of racist.
Isn't that what he's called?
Nub Nub? Who are you talking about?
We'll get to him because he's in Return of the Jedi.
Nub Nub?
Yeah.
Warwick Davis is Wicket.
Yeah, I know he's Wicket, but I was saying in the Solo movie, does he play Nub Nub? You don't even know. You don't know who that is, do you?
Nub Nub.
It's Lando's co-pilot in the Millennium Falcon when they're going to blow up the Death Star. The little.
Oh, Nine Nub. No.
Oh, my bad. I said Nub Nub.
No, that's.
I think I was mixing it up with Rick and Morty's Noob Noob. Good one, Noob Noob.
I was like, this motherfucker call me something an Ewok right now? Fuck him up.
Anyway, I know he plays Wicked though. But anyway, we need to get back on track.
We're already on a tangent.
So go ahead and tell me. So how we did this, how I've done it in the last 2 episodes is basically we go through the plot and talk about our own experiences first on when we saw this movie for the first time. And then basically we're going to talk about it and pick it apart, and then you're going to try to, I guess, dissuade me or convince me that this movie belongs where it does in my top 10 list. So as it stands right now, I have always said, before I started this whole series, I said that Return of the Jedi was my second favorite movie as far as appreciating for a movie, but it's my nostalgic favorite. So now I have it somewhere. I think it's in my top 3 solid still, but I don't really know if it's number 1, 2, or 3. So that's what we're going to find out today.
All right.
So what's the first memory you have of Return of the Jedi?
I really don't know. I've been watching Star Wars as long as I can remember, like from fucking pretty much from birth till now. I've always watched Star Wars. And Return of the Jedi has always actually been my favorite until I was probably around 18. And I made the conscious and terrible decision that the Phantom Menace is my favorite. And but it's not. Return of the Jedi is definitely the best. But yeah, I've always been watching it. So,
all right, fair enough. So my first memory of this movie, I'm pretty sure this is the first Star Wars movie I saw as a kid, and I don't really remember I didn't understand it. I was super young. I was like 7 years old when I saw this movie. Maybe even earlier than that. I might have been younger. I might have been like 5 or 6 or something. But it's literally one of the movies that I have like the first memories of watching. That and The Blob for some reason. That movie scared me. I was too young probably to see it at the time. Anyway, movies like that for some reason stick in my mind. Also, Jaws at a really early age for some reason. But like I said, I grew up. My parents had HBO, so movies were on all the time. But I don't know if they had rented it or if they just were putting it on HBO. But I'm going to assume, since this movie came out in 1983, I'm going to assume that they rented it because I was old enough to make memories. So I had to be watching this in like 1989 or 1990, maybe for the first time. And I remember C-3PO and R2 walking towards Jabba's palace, and I just remember not understanding what was going on. It was all too much for my little brain to take in.
That's probably the worst movie to start with.
Yeah, I mean, I was not going to have any reference of plot at all. I think my parents were just watching it, and I happened to be in the room, and and they thought it would be something entertaining for me while they were actually trying to enjoy it. That's my best guess. But I did see this movie first, and then I did not watch it again until I saw A New Hope in theaters in 1997 when the special editions came out. And then I got obsessed. That's when I got obsessed with Star Wars.
Nice.
So I got the Star Wars Special Edition trilogy for Christmas, I think in 98 when they all were out by then. And I just watched them nonstop. I'd put them on over the holidays and just one after another, just run through the trilogy. So for the longest time, Return was my favorite because it wraps up the trilogy. And we kind of talked about this, like just speaking about doing this podcast and everything. We were talking about how
I think it's the best because if you watch, especially with the original trilogy and then even the prequel trilogy, and now with kind of the new ones, it's not the end anymore. But if you watch the prequel, if you start with the prequels and watch them to the very end, it's a great closing film. It's a great final movie. I think it has the best finish to end, and then you really you get a lot of fulfillment out of it. In my eyes, at least.
Yeah, and even watching it again last night, the music at the end, the celebration music and everything, and the way it rolls into the Star Wars theme and everything, it's just a beautifully shot ending.
Oh,
it's really good. But we'll get to that. So
Lando clapping by himself.
The dancing, Wedge's horrible dancing. Yeah. Oh my God. We'll get to it. Because I do have some stuff now that I want to pick apart in this movie. Things that, I don't know, questionable, and things that I'm like, okay, this isn't, this is not it's not the best shot movie of this.
No, out of all of them, no, definitely not.
I mean, I think Empire's still probably one of the best shot movies, but it having an open ending, like a cliffhanger ending kind of thing. Yeah, it doesn't feel as complete as Return. You don't feel satisfied.
Yeah, no.
So I totally get it. And it's a totally valid argument that one of these two movies is anyone's favorite. I can understand. But let's get into the plot. And since we both know this, we can kind of hand it off either way. So I already said we start the movie with, technically we don't start in the desert. We start with Darth Vader visiting the incomplete Death Star 2. So,
and then he's like, yo, fuckers, why is this not finished? And they pretty much tell Darth Vader, oh, we're ahead of schedule, buddy. Like, this is a big thing you're doing here. And he's like, all right, well, the Emperor's coming, so
yeah,
have fun with that.
And then we shall double efforts, then, which I say at work all the time.
We shall double.
Yeah, we shall double efforts.
We shall double our efforts.
Like, I hope so.
Yeah. That speaking of that too, that had to be a sucky ass job to be like, hey, Vader's coming, and then he comes and goes, Emperor's coming.
Yeah, to be the director of any project, or even the general. I mean, he takes out admirals and generals throughout the series like they're nothing. He's like, expendable. Yeah, it's not a good job.
You got to get paid pretty good, I guess.
I was say that has to be a sweet gig if you're going to risk getting force choked.
But yeah, and then it cuts straight to C3PO and R2 in the desert, which is one of my favorite parts. Throughout a lot of the Star Wars is because you go back to Tatooine, and if you kind of grew up, if you didn't grow up with it, like I grew up with it, and it all kind of merges together. Like I've always known all the characters, I feel like, but if you watch it, I had a bunch of friends and that I've shown it to, and people, and like oh, we're gonna see Jabba, and I never realized that. You don't really realize what Jabba is until you finally see him, and he's a big fucking slug man.
That's true, because if you didn't watch the special editions, you don't see Jabba until this point. He's a ghost. He's a boogeyman. He's a Kaiser Soze.
He's supposed to be like the Godfather, and then you see this giant. I remember I had a girlfriend. She was like, "Ugh," and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "That's Jabba," and I was like, "Yeah, that's Jabba," and she's like, "He's fucking nasty."
He is a grotesque creature. So C-3PO and R2 are going in there to deliver a message from Luke Skywalker, and we get to see hologram Luke, and he's all like poised and badass now. Like his Jedi training is complete, I guess you could say officially. By the end of the movie, it is complete. But at this time, he's all poised, and he's basically making a threat to Jabba.
Yeah,
saying like, "Hey, I'm willing to bargain to get Han Solo back, but don't push me."
Yeah. And he offers him C-3PO and R2-D2 as a kind of a ruse to get in there. And then a bounty hunter, a no-name bounty hunter, shows up with Chewbacca.
He does have a name, isn't it?
He does. I can't remember it though.
Bosk is the
lizard.
The lizard guy.
The Trandoshan.
I'm gonna remember this name. Because that bounty hunter has a name.
Yeah, he does. There's like a thing, like a Legends or something where they show how Leia got that armor. I just spoiled it. Leia's in the armor.
That's perfectly fine. You can keep saying.
But so she brings the bounty to collect on Chewbacca.
His Boush or Bausch.
Okay.
Yeah, Boush.
Which is also funny because they also rob Jabba blind. they get all these credits from him because she threatens to blow the place up.
Yeah.
And hands over Chewbacca and hangs out, and that way at the night she tries to steal Solo back.
Yep. So she thaws him out with a thermal detonator, which is that what she uses? No, she
thaws him out. She thaws him out straight from the carbonite.
Yeah, she just threatens him with the thermal detonator. Yeah. But I wondered what she used to thaw him out, but.
Oh no! I think she just clicked some buttons.
Just drop.
Which this is also what kind of is weird to me when you think about it. Like, was that their plan? And then like, Luke realized she got captured, and he's like, "Fuck! I gotta go kill everybody now."
I don't think so, and I'll get to that once we get to the barge scene. I have some questions, and I want to see your theories on this.
See my theories on.
So, all right. So she thaws out Han, and then Jabba's right behind the curtain laughing like he was up suspecting something the whole time. I mean, the whole crew's there. Like, he's got his whole entourage. So they've all just been silently waiting behind that curtain the whole time. Like 20 people. Do you know how hard it is to get 20 people to shut the fuck up?
20 fucking blazed out aliens.
Yeah, they're all in their party. And
there's got to be like a lot of squishing going around behind that curtain too. Yeah.
And we do need to mention that Boba Fett is there.
Boba Fett is there.
He is partying it up. He's flirting with some Twi'leks.
Yeah. Oh, and we totally skipped over Jedi Rocks.
Oh man.
Yeah. Before Leia shows up, the best Star Wars song and musical in the franchise appears by Cy Snoodles and the Max Rebo Band.
Yes.
Jedi Rocks.
International pop star.
I got that shit on 3 Spotify playlists.
Intergalactic pop superstar, Cy Snoodles.
Britney Spears of the galaxy.
That's what she is. So we should take this moment to also approach the fact that there are 3 different versions of this movie.
Yeah.
We are talking about basically the complete ended the Disney version, I'm going to call it.
That's yeah.
But we will mention that there are 3 different versions. There's the original that does not have that whole musical number. there will be the special edition, which introduces that whole musical number, and also introduces some extra planets at the end in the celebration scene, and then we'll have the Disney version, which we'll talk about the Force Ghosts in a second. Yeah. But so anyway, yeah, Jabba and his whole crew are laughing, and now they have her captured as well, and they make her into Slave Leia and inspire a generation of probably terrible porn parodies.
I wonder how many women went as slutty Slave Leia for Halloween.
Probably not in 1983, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
There's probably more slutty Slave Leias now.
What do you think there's more of? Harley Quinns or slutty Slave Leias?
Absolutely Harley Quinn now. Yeah, Harley Quinn's probably been number one for like the last 5 Halloweens. But we get sidetracked. Yep. Hell, my wife went as Harley Quinn. So now Luke has to show up himself, and we finally get to see Luke in the all black robes, by the way. So that's kind of cool because you don't see too many people wearing all black robes, and it's a throwback that we'll see later that Anakin will wear black robes when he was a Jedi. But you don't think of the Jedi wearing black. But here we are. Luke has his black Jedi robes, and he's walking in with his hood over. It's being all secretive and everything. And here's my first question that I propose to you: is he chokes the shit out of 2 Gamoran guards?
Oh, fuck them, they're pigs. But I'd say that's like a lower class. Like I'd say that's not intelligent life. Qui-Gon Jinn said himself, the ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
It's true.
And so,
but he straight up murders 2 people.
Yeah.
And so that's never addressed or approached or retconned.
Well, I think did he kill him? Did we ever find out if they got killed?
So I asked my wife that as well. I was like, do you think he actually like just choked him out, or do you think he actually kills him? Because you don't see any Jedi using Force choke.
No, you don't.
He's the only one.
He is the only one who ever uses Force choke. I think, I don't really got a hard answer for yet, but I think he might have accidentally learned that one. He's like, yeah, let's try it out. They're pigs.
How would Yoda have allowed him to learn? Like, where did he even get the idea? I can cut
Yoda's side chick came in and started talking over him. He said, "Shut up."
So, all right, valid answer. So Luke now makes more threats to Jabba.
Also, well, here's the thing. There is a Legends book now. It's the Legends. It's not canon anymore. Where right before all this takes place, Luke is on Tatooine again. It's a book called The Life and Legend of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it takes place in a current time where Luke is at Obi-Wan's house after Empire Strikes Back, building his lightsaber, and he's reading a lot of journals Obi-Wan had, and so it cuts from modern time right after Empire Strikes Back, where Luke is reading these books. And right before the prequels, where Obi-Wan is a Padawan, up until Obi-Wan living his life in exile in the desert. And in that book, it talks a lot about like how to build a lightsaber. So like that's how Luke figures out how to build his green lightsaber. Actually, it's from those books. So if you want to say Obi-Wan might have wrote down some Force powers or something in there,
just some notations.
Yeah, he's probably like, how you do that Force choke thing again? Or like, like a wizard writes a bad spell, he might have wrote the wrong shit down.
He didn't.
Yeah, he might have
translated it.
Yeah. So that's also a good way. That's also a good. We'll get into that later too about some other stuff. How Luke learned to do other stuff and where he got some things. But yeah. But he Force chokes the fuck out of those Gamorreans.
So that's our hero. It's the first
he also comes in and you really don't know it's Luke at first. I mean, he's wearing all black, and I mean
he's got the hood out.
He's got the hood on.
That's true. I guess
you see him Force choke some people, and you're like, oh, is that Luke? What?
I guess you really don't
know.
All right, so we finally get to see Luke, and when he pulls the hood down, like I said, he's making more threats to Jabba. Random side note I want to point out is that for some reason in this movie, Mark Hamill's scar from the car accident is more noticeable than it was in Empire to me.
Yeah, you think they powdered it up and they made it look a little bit more?
I think because he aged a little more and his hair's cut now. Yeah. It's got the shorter hair, so like it just sticks out more to me. I just seem to notice it in Return more than I do Empire.
I guess it is, yeah.
Even though they wrote an entire scene in Empire to reference it, him getting attacked by the Wampa. So, anyway, sidetracked. Anyway, he makes threats. He actually I try to remember how he attempts. He attempts to do something, and basically Jabba hits the.
He's trying to barter with Jabba, and Jabba's just kind of egging him on, and he keeps walking closer to him. And Leia's there. I can't remember if it's Leia or C-3PO. I would just watch a movie. I still can't remember.
3PO like tries to warn him.
He's like, "Hey, you're walking a little close," and then hits the button.
Yep, and drops him
into the Rancor pit.
Rancor. And
which is honestly probably, in my opinion, the coolest Star Wars monster.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
In that movie, you get 2 really cool Star Wars monsters within like an hour period.
I remember playing KOTOR, Knights of the Republic, and having to fight the Rancor in the series, and that's pretty awesome.
It's fucking awesome.
It's like the first big fight battle, like in the game. Anyway, sidetrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Rancor pit, which we haven't seen the Rancor yet. We just saw it grab and eat a
dancer.
Yeah.
Because she was trying to choke Jabba out.
She was trying to like pull her chain away from him or something. Mm-hmm. And he didn't like that. Apparently, insubordination is not tolerated around the Godfather.
So yeah, you never see the first time seeing the Rancor, and the special edition Rancor looks better than the original Rancor in my opinion, because they added more shots of it.
Yeah.
And the fucking eyes, it looks, I don't even know what to describe it looks like. It looks like a big flea, in my opinion.
It's a big turd with teeth and arms. But it is it's basically his pet / execution method is what Jabba uses it for. So Luke's down there and he has to figure out a way to basically avoid this beast, and then he uses a rock.
Yeah, he doesn't have his lightsaber on him.
Yeah, he does not, which we'll find out why. But he uses a rock basically to lead this Rancor back under the cage door, which has like big spikes, like it's a big wooden what do you call it, like lattice or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it. And he hits the rock to the button that drops the door on the Rancor's head, effectively killing it.
And then you get the fucking saddest scene in any Star Wars, the Rancor master coming out pushing everybody out the way.
Know, yeah, and then
he starts crying.
And
I felt bad for that
and
guy.
his alien buddies consoling him.
I remember being a child and seeing that, and I was like, "Oh man, dude,
that was his buddy.
That was his best fucking friend.
Yeah.
That Rancor would have ate him in a heartbeat, and he didn't give a shit. He loved
Maybe
that
it
Rancor.
wouldn't have. Maybe it's like a.
I don't know. That you think they're buddies? It was like his dog.
Yeah, it's like his attack dog or his guard. Maybe he had that big of a connection with it. Obviously.
Yeah, he was crying.
So that's.
I had a friend that said, "What, did he have money on that Rancor?" I was like, I don't know.
He just lost his life. I can't put my kids through school now. It was his ticket off Tatooine.
Yes. I'm putting everything on the Rancor next time. He saw it eat that Twi'lek. I thought that was the funniest shit.
He's crying. He's really crying. He's like, "My wife's gonna kill me. I lost the family china."
Ashy Larry, did you put the money on my purse on that Rancor?
All right. So now we go to a new execution scene because the Rancor didn't get the job done. So now they barge everybody out, literally barge on these big sail barges. It's Jawa's like pleasure barge.
Yeah.
And they sail out into the desert to the Sarlacc pit, which the Sarlacc is a monster that lives in a pit. Basically, it's just, in the original movie, it's just a big hole with like teeth coming out of it. And in the special edition, it's now a beaked monster with tentacles coming out. So kind of a strange departure, but cooler.
Yeah, I like the special edition ones. Fucking sweet. I mean, here's the thing though, and I think about it, and like if he killed the Rancor, just have your goons go in there and just take him out.
Yeah,
he doesn't have he got another rock? He gonna drop another door?
It's like the Scott Evil thing. It's been like, shoot him now. I'll do it. Give me a gun. Like,
yeah. Joe was probably like, fuck, we got gas in the boat.
Yeah,
we got to take the boat out.
I want to go for a spin. So yeah, this is all spectacle for Jabba, and that's all it is. And realistically, he shouldn't have done the.
It's probably like a big thing to kill a Jedi too.
Like,
we got to execute him.
Yeah, I probably want to make a spectacle out of all of them. So Chewie, Han, and Luke are all going to be sacrificed to the Sarlacc, and they march them out in the desert. They're about to make him walk the plank kind of thing over it. And Luke finally gives one last chance to Jabba and says, "It's your last chance to change your mind."
Yeah, he says, "Let us go or die." Yeah. And everybody starts busting out laughing.
Which is, once again, like not a very Jedi thing to say.
No, it's not. You're right. Well, he wasn't like a Jedi right then. He wasn't a Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
He didn't.
I mean, there was no one to christen him except Yoda, really.
Yeah, so... And then C-3PO's like, I urge you not to say that. And Han Solo's like, C-3PO, shut the fuck up.
Like, spineless bitch.
Yeah, he's like, that's my favorite part. Is Han Solo, one of my favorite parts is Han Solo going, 3PO, you tell Jabba.
Yeah, we wouldn't give him the satisfaction.
Yeah. And Han Solo is all blind from carbonation sickness. And you in the Rancor scene, you notice Lando's in there hiding out too.
Oh yeah, very poorly with. He even pulls his mask down to let you see that it's him.
Yeah, I would like to know. Is that Lando?
So now we see the plan unfold. R2 has the lightsaber, and he shoots it out like a little spring.
Yep,
spring launching
Luke
thing.
Jumps off the diving board, grabs it, does a flip
over everybody, and starts whacking away at everybody.
Baseball bat.
Just baseball bat, knocking people off. They're all falling into the Sarlacc pit.
I do like when people say Rey has bad form with the lightsaber.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at Luke Skywalker, though, he was
Look, you trained her.
swinging that motherfucker.
Yeah. So he's knocking people off. They're trying to shoot the barge now down, and the cannons are going through the deck, and all hell's breaking loose.
Boba Fett tries some cool shit. And
Boba Fett looks terrible here because he rocket packs his way over there. He tries to snare Luke. Luke just cuts the damn cord. Yeah. And then...
You think Boba Fett would have more experience with Jedis. He's only tried 1,000 fucking times.
Yeah. And then he gets like the classic cheesy like bumbling their way into getting rid of a villain by who is it that bumps it? It's like Han
Solo has a big stick. He's still blind, and he's trying. Lando falls into the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah,
like right on the edge, and he can't crawl up. And so he's like, "Help me, help me!" And so Han picks up a big stick, and he's like, he's about to reach it down, and then Chewie, I guess, is like, "Boba Fett's behind you," and he's like, "Boba Fett!"
Yeah,
and he swings it and hits him in the jetpack, and he goes taking off.
Yeah.
Like, if I was Boba Fett, I would just landed there, fucking flamethrowered him, and then took off to the next boat.
So Boba Fett's jetpack goes off and launches him into the Sarlacc pit, and he gets eaten. So now we have Han saving some comedy, saving Lando, saying, "Oh, I can see a whole lot better now. It's all right."
Yeah, shoots the tentacle that's wrapped around Lando's leg. And that whole rescue scene is a fucking disaster, by the way.
Oh, man. Like, that is... Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, there's a comparison of like, you know, when someone just comes in and accidentally wrecks everything, like, and it's like, Zelda, get down.
Calm down.
Just tell her to sit and don't give her the time of day.
That's it. Zelda, you tell Jabba.
So, while this is going on, now, I almost called her Carrie Fisher. Leia finds the chance to use the chain that Jabba has her on to choke him out, and she literally strangles him until he's dead. So bye Jabba.
Yeah, Jabba's done for. And then
R2 zaps the chain, and she's like, "Let's get out of here." And so she's got the droids, and they're jumping ship because the barge is now like exploding everywhere. So they wreck this entire thing, and they get away on like one little skiff. So our heroes leave, and now that brings me to my biggest question: how convoluted a plan was this? Let's really think this out for a second, okay? Lando sneaks into Jabba's palace, knocks out a guard or steals some armor, and
in Solo, he already had that armor.
Okay, there we go. So
yeah, because Woody Harrelson's character used it in Solo.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that makes sense.
So he already had that armor.
So he sneaks in with this armor. Somehow just let him in.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. He walks in wearing this armor, and they go, "Who the fuck are you?"
They're like, "He looks good. Let him in." So they let this random guy in this armor. So I don't know if he posed as someone. I said he was a bounty hunter because apparently it's a bounty hunter convention. They just let bounty hunters in. That robot doorman doesn't do shit. Like, everyone walks in. I don't get it. So he's in there. Then we have R2 and 3PO come in. They are given
their gifts from Luke
to Jabba with the intention of Luke's lightsaber being inside R2.
Yeah.
Already. Hoping they didn't just get fucking dismantled. Because they're down there like branding bots and
they were fucking stretching them out,
incinerating the last interpreter. Like, they're not doing nice things to robots there. So that's a thing. And then Leia goes in there with Chewbacca in handcuffs, and then gets herself captured and thaws out Han. So now all of them are captured, and now Luke, lightsaberless, goes in to negotiate one last time.
Kills 2 dudes.
Yeah.
Mind tricks one of them.
Yeah, first off, doesn't come under peaceful terms. He kills 2 guys. Mind tricks is the guy next to him. Tries to mind trick Jabba.
Yeah.
And this whole plan was to get out into the middle of the desert. What if they left the droids back at the palace? He doesn't have his lightsaber.
Well, here's the thing. All right, let me try to work this out.
What is this Ocean's 11 bullshit?
So, I think they probably didn't have a lot of information, which is where they probably should have sent Lando in and then be like, hey, bring us back some information.
Do some recon.
I doubt they knew where Han Solo was, because who would expect him to keep Han Solo in carbonite, right? Like, that was just a transportation method. Jabba was like, fuck it, we're going to hang him on the wall.
I mean, that's pretty inventive, honestly.
Like, you think Leia got there and was like, oh, fuck, he's still in the thing.
I mean, if they thought him, they would have killed him. So
yeah. So, but I think his whole plan was probably to get everybody in there and look like he was unarmed and try to barter and mind trick Jabba. And when that didn't work out, he was like, all right, well, now I'm in a pit with a big giant monster. And he's probably thinking this went terribly wrong.
I don't know how Luke expected it to pan out, but he literally got if this had gone 100 times and 99 times, they're all fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like Jabba kills them all.
Yeah, what if they wouldn't have took him to the Sarlacc pit?
It's like the Doctor Strange going through a million different ways. Like the end game can come out and he's like, we win one time. Like, that's the one time that's what happened.
I think I understand why he wanted to sneak his lightsaber in there, because they probably would have took it from him if he walked it in there.
He choked all the guards.
Yeah, that's true.
Who was going to take it from the guy who can mentally choke you out? If someone said, sir, we're going to need to frisk you.
Jokes. So, yeah, I can't explain that plan, but it worked out, didn't it?
It worked. So let's go on to our next scene.
I do also like how they... Leia's like, let's get out of here to R2, and then she hops on a rope with Luke.
And then just pushes them out.
Yeah, R2 pushes C-3PO off the boat. What if they fucking landed wrong?
Yeah.
So, and then they grab him with
the
magnets.
Okay, so we move on now, and our heroes are reunited, and does it go back to? It goes back to the Empire, right? It goes back to Vader and Palpatine talking.
Yes, it goes back to Vader and Palpatine. They talk about the completion of the Death Star. I don't think that they reveal it there. I don't think they reveal that it's ready.
They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but they talk a little bit about Luke, right? About him being able to be, converted. It's like, oh, if we can make him a powerful ally and all that kind of stuff. Which Palpatine already knows the rule of 2. Like, he's smarter than this. He's like, fuck. He's like, he's gonna be my apprentice if he kills you. Like, that's all he knows. So there's games going on. But anyway, we see them talking,
and then Han Solo and the crew, they go back to the fleet while Luke goes back to Dagobah.
That's right. Yeah.
To I guess chat with Yoda. I think he goes to complete his training. He's like, I'm gonna go complete this training
and basically say goodbye to him because Yoda is dying, as we find out.
Yep.
So it's his last ride. He gets all cozy under a blankie, and finally admits that Vader is Luke's father to him.
Because admits he's his father, and Yoda confesses. He's like, "Yo, I'm 900 years old." Or what is it? He said he's 800. And then he talks with so Yoda pretty much tells him that you've completed your training. Like you like, there's nothing more I can really teach you. Which there was. Yeah. He could have shown him a lot more that we've seen from the prequels.
Yeah.
So and then he does a whole Obi-Wan where he kind of just fades out.
One of the things that whole being able to absorb Force lightning would have been a handy one to get.
Yeah, you think he got to the astral plane or whatever, and he's like, oh wait, there was one more thing.
He did. He Force ghosted and went.
And then Luke has a talk with Obi-Wan about why he didn't tell him that Vader was his father. And Obi-Wan pulls that bullshit. Well, from a certain point of view, he's not. He's Vader. That's not Anakin.
I mean,
how petty.
Semantics.
How petty of Obi-Wan to be like, it's not the Anakin I know. So.
Yeah.
Also, there was probably a point where Luke got back in his X-Wing and took off. And then Yoda comes out and Force Ghost. He's like, hey, did you tell him about absorbing Force lightning? And he goes, oh, no. I thought.
No.
Was that you? You were supposed to tell him that. That's your thing.
Well, even Obi-Wan was unconscious when Yoda did that, so he might not even know.
He didn't even know. You can what?
you don't think the kid's gonna need that?
Also, this is the first movie where we see Force lightning.
Yeah,
which is fucking sweet. Stop. Sit down. Sit.
Zelda, come over here. Get in your window.
You tell Jabba.
Where's some ham when you need it? There you go. Get your bone. All right. So then he flies back to meet up with the team just in time to hear their plan about basically to attack the Death Star that's not complete. They have to take down the shield generator that's coming from the Forest Moon of Endor that it's in orbit around, which would fuck that planet's like gravity and everything up if you had something that big orbiting that close to it. Anyway, I'm not going to get in. We're not going to talk about physics.
Not a lot of physics in these movies.
Not a lot. So they got to go make a strike team, like build a team together to go down and take out this force generator. And it's obviously our heroes. So we've got Leia, Han, Chewie, and Luke finally joins. And that's our strike team.
Plus, and they take a protocol droid and an astromech with them for some reason.
Yeah.
They really fucking sealed the deal for it at the end. But in any situation, I'd be like, no, we're going to take some slow-ass droids.
That's true. 3PO,
that are bright.
3PO saves their ass, but he...
See, 3PO saves their ass twice.
That's true.
Yeah. So they should give 3PO more credit than they give him.
He needs a medal ceremony.
Yeah.
So they go down to Endor, and they attempt to take out the shield generator.
They get down there and they see.
Yeah. First off, we gotta.
Yeah, they see some stormtroopers down there.
Scout troopers.
Scout
That's
troopers.
the first time we see the scout helmets.
Oh, we also skipped over. They're while they steal an Imperial shuttle.
Yes.
That's how they get to the Forest Moon. That's how they get by the Death Star and by the blockade.
And according to Rogue One too, apparently that's how you get anything by the Empire.
Yeah, just get one of their ships in an old code, and then Vader obviously knows. He's like,
Vader knew.
Yeah, Vader was like, "Hey, Luke's on that ship," and then the officer was like, "Do you want me to?"
Yeah, you want me to hold him?
Yeah, you want me to hold him?
He's like, "Nah, let him through."
Like if Vader was like, "Yeah, blow him up."
Yeah, he'd been like, "We can end this now."
In there.
But at this point, he wants Luke. So
Jedi and Sith are very confrontational, though. They want to like be face to face when shit goes down.
Yeah. So he lets him through because he has.
And Luke knows too. He's like, "That's Vader's ship," and they're like, "Well, fuck."
Which we didn't mention the Executor yet. We should probably mention that Vader's new flagship in this movie is the Executor, a Super Star Destroyer, and it's like dwarfs all the Victory class ones. So if you thought the one in the Victory class, which is called the Victory, which was his first flagship in A New Hope, which is in the end of Rogue One when it rams into a Mon Cal cruiser and just brushes it aside it's nothing. That one now is like 1/10 of the size of the Executor. It is an absolutely massive ship.
I like how they're like, "You fucked up. Here's a bigger ship."
Yeah, here's a bigger one.
You let the kid get away. Here's a bigger ship.
Get a bigger ship. So, but it is a badass looking Super Star Destroyer.
Oh yeah, it's sweet. There's a lot of better space scenes in this movie.
There are.
As far as like ships passing by and like the construction of the Death Star going on.
Yeah, they definitely got the budget up, better models and stuff.
But yeah, so they land on the Forest Moon of Endor and they're kind of scouting around and they see 2 scout troopers. I thought the scout troopers were the shit when I was a kid. I thought they looked fucking sweet.
Speeder bikes.
Speeder bike chase is awesome. So Han Solo is like, "I'm gonna go fuck that guy up." Like he's like fist fight this scout trooper
and steps on a twig.
Yeah, and the guy turns around and backhands the shit out of Han Solo. And then two of the other scout troopers get away, and Luke and Leia go chase them down.
Which first time we really see Leia be a badass.
Yeah, it is.
In this whole movie, she doesn't do a whole. Well, she does in
A New Hope when she like grabs the blaster and.
But this one, you really see that she's like.
Yeah, she's about fucking business.
Yeah, and the first one, it's more of like she's brave and she's not afraid to get her hands dirty, but you don't see her having any like soldierly qualities. And this one, she's like, "I'm doing it myself."
Yeah.
So she's ballsy. She jumps on that damn speeder bike and takes off after.
And so everybody gets split up. Leia's speeder bike crashes and she falls off and passes out,
but causes the other trooper to crash into a tree in the same thing. So she's yeah.
And then Luke tails another one because they got split up, and his speeder bike crashes too, but he gets off and chops the other guys.
Stealing half of the lightsaber. which is awesome. That guy goes pinwheeling down that would suck so bad.
They walk up to the body. Fuck, is that Jeremy?
They take off the helmet. It's just goo instead of liquefied on him.
And so Luke runs back to the strike squad who's just been hanging out. And they're like, "Where's Leia?" And he's like, "I thought she was with you guys." And they're like,
"How? Y'all got on speeder bikes? Yeah. They should be like a mile away."
Yep. And so they go looking for her. And meanwhile, Leia wakes up to find Ewok, the Wicket, Warwick Davis's Wicket, which is the coolest midget character in all the Star Wars, in my opinion. It's like she's like cool with it. Like if I had like a little tiny thing with a stick pointing at me, I'd probably try to fight it. But like she like offers it crackers and is like, "Nah, look, it's a helmet. You don't got to be afraid. It's a helmet."
She makes friends with the little teddy bear.
Yeah, and then a scout trooper pulls up on her out of nowhere, and Wicket's like, "Yeah, we got to get out of here. This is a bad part of town.
You should not be here after dark."
Yeah. So they take off and cut back to Han and Luke and everybody looking for Leia, and they get Chewbacca fucks it all up.
Yeah,
he's
there's a big bag of meat.
Yeah.
And he just wants to stop for a steak.
I would like to know what the Ewoks are trying to catch. Because they probably got a bunch of those guys and like, just as good. They look kind of tasty.
And if they eat meat, why would you hang your bag of meat as bait for more meat? I'd be eating the meat.
Yeah. And they get caught in the net. Ah, fuck.
Zelda, stop.
They get caught in the net and they're all trying how to figure out why R2 has a handy little saw.
Mm-hmm.
Pulls out, that thing's just full of tricks and knickknacks.
Yeah, there's all kinds of little gizmos.
Yeah, and so they get out the net and they're all on the ground, and a bunch of Ewoks appear. The whole tribe, it looks like, is out on a hunt. And they're about to take him out until they see C-3PO and think he's a god.
Yeah, which I don't know if there's any backstory on why they would think he was.
Not that I've seen. But I mean, think about like the mine,
shiny gold machine thing. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a very rural tribe and some gold shit walks up to you, you're gonna be like, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, these must be special. He's gold with one silver leg. How old were you when you found that out?
Pretty young actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I was actually old when I never noticed the silver leg on
really?
C-3PO. Yeah. Oh well.
And then so then they all converge at the hut where they're going to eat Chewbacca, Luke, and Han. And Leia, they see Leia there, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
She's like, "I played nice."
And so Luke's like, "C-3PO, tell him you're going to get angry and use your magic." And then C-3PO, he doesn't want to tell him because he's like, it's against my programming to, pose as a deity.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, just fucking do it." Which doesn't make sense. All right, so this doesn't make sense to me in the newer films. Side little talk. Because they're like, "Hey, we need you to read this Sith," and he's like, "I ain't reading that Sith." And they're like, "You posed as a deity." Like you're gonna break your program in here, but not here, buddy. Come on. So Luke levitates them and freaks all the Ewoks out, and they cut them down and give them their weapons back. And then they just party. They just all chill out. So
yeah, they have a little.
But does it ever really tell you how they get back to the strike team? Because the strike team wasn't there. They didn't go on the hunt for Luke and Leia.
Yeah, the team that's supposed to meet them down there. I don't even know how they get there.
They were all in the shuttle.
The extra troops and everything.
Yeah, they were all in the shuttle together.
I guess they're just hanging out, waiting on direction. I don't know what they're doing, camping. So during this little get together, Luke says again, "I'm endangering the mission. I gotta go," and he goes to turn himself into Vader. So now we get some like whole father-son talk.
Yeah,
it's very awkward.
Well, he also admits to Leia before that their brother and sister.
Yep. So she finds that out,
and then there's another continuity error where it's do you remember your mother? She's like, yeah, I remember she was very sad all the time. You're like, you died when she was a baby. I did too.
And my explanation for that was maybe it was when she was in the womb, she had force like imprinted.
That makes sense. You can use a lot of like, the force.
Yeah,
for
imprinted memories.
And her and Han Solo get into a fight.
Yeah, because he thinks she's cheating on with Luke now, and he's a little jelly.
That's got to be. Han Solo was probably pissed off all the time, like, oh, fuck him. You know?
Yeah. She kissed him once. Like,
yeah. But so he goes and turns himself in. And
then we get the father-son talk, and they're kind of buttering him up to become a Sith. And Luke's kind of he's resisting it, but he's leading him on long enough to get audience with the Emperor. And that's what Luke really wants, is to get the three of them in a room so they can hash this out. So while that's going on, the strike team back to the generator. So now this is the classic Star Wars where we have like the big set pieces all going off at once. So you've got the three different things happening, and all at once. And what it is the strike team is attacking the shield generator.
The fleet's moving into
the
Death Star.
Moving in to attack the Death Star. So they come out of hyperspace, and Luke and the Emperor and Vader are playing like they're doing the Mexican standoff thing where they're all like got guns pointed. And
who's gonna kill who here? So the Emperor's pretty much he thinks he's set.
Yeah,
he's like, either way, I get an apprentice out of this. That's also a really I love the confrontation between the Emperor and Vader and Luke. Because they didn't actually, if you watched Empire and then like a couple years later you go into the theater and see Return of the Jedi, the Emperor doesn't look anything like the fucking butthole monkey that looked like in Empire.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it was.
It was a monkey.
Chimpanzee with glasses, like goggles on.
Yeah.
So, which in the special edition they went back and put Ian
McDiarmid in it. They actually, I think they reshot that while they had him all makeuped up.
Yeah.
For Return of the Jedi.
I also do want to point out that Ian McDiarmid is significantly younger than a lot of the actors that are in this movie, like not including the main heroes of like Han and Carrie Fisher, Han and Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and all. But he's not too much older than Harrison Ford, I think.
No, he's actually really young. They aged him up, and by the time the prequels came around, he was like
perfect. He looked.
It worked out really well how they did it, in my opinion.
Absolutely, because he was only 40. He would have been 39 years old when this movie came out, so he was
pretty young.
So he looks like an old man, and his voice is just great.
Yeah,
which he learned. I think I can't remember what they said. He said he learned it some kind of technique to speak from your stomach that he learned from like some kind of theater. It was like Japanese theater or some kind of like kabuki singing technique or something. I read a whole thing on like where he learned it from, and that's how he does that whole like rise.
Yeah, I love the Emperor. He's definitely probably one of my favorite characters. My favorite Sith character, I'll say.
Palpatine is awesome.
Yeah, because it's all mind games, and like this is like this can't fuck up. Like he's got to be so impatient by now.
And he's arguably the most successul Sith.
Yeah, out of all of them, yeah.
I mean, he technically won, and he's winning for a while.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like this is the final moment. Like whatever happens here it's fucking done. Like he's got to win right here, which is what I love. It's like he thinks he knows the outcome already, and
this is where his gamble comes. He actually admits that the Death Star is operational, that the laser is working.
Yeah, Luke like tries to inform me. He's like, "Oh, well, we're about to take out the shield generator," and he's like, yeah, I know.
I'm about to take out your fleet."
Yeah, he's like, because they get to the because by that time the fleet pulls in and they're like, that shield generator's not down, and he's like, well, why there's no TIE fighters coming? Lando's like, well, no TIE fighters are coming for us, and then like straight cut to, you will now see the power of this fully operational battle station, and you're Luke was probably like, shit.
And this one, according to actually I think I have the Vehicles and Technology book right there. Actually, according to that book, the Death Star 2 actually is able to focus its laser on smaller targets. So unlike the first Death Star that was just blasting at planets, he's able to actually pinpoint, or I guess the crew is able to pinpoint ships in the fleet and target them. So they start taking out the Rebel fleet.
Yeah, they take out the biggest ship first. Yeah. That had to be like a big, like, oh shit. Yeah.
So
we're bad at planning.
Immediately Lando says that blast came from the Death Star. Yeah. So they're like, yeah, it's a no shit moment.
Nine Nub was like, no shit.
And we get to see flashback. No, going back to Endor. I don't say flashback, but flashing over to Endor. Going back to Endor, the strike team has infiltrated, or is trying to infiltrate the base, and they get ambushed by an Imperial, like an entire Imperial, I don't know what you call it, squad, battalion.
A bunch of Imperials pop out of nowhere.
And they have ATSTs, which we haven't seen since Hoth.
Hoth, yeah.
And
we get the AT-AT. We get like 1 or 2 AT-ATs in there.
We see one at the base that Luke goes to meet with Vader before they go up to the Death Star. We see one AT-AT, but it's not in the actual battle on Endor. But the Battle of Endor starts when now the Ewoks, who have apparently decided to join and help, ambush the stormtroopers, and now the battle is on. And I know that this is supposed to be a kind of a reference to like Vietnam, like a more like an under or more technologically inferior people waging a guerrilla war on a technologically superior, militarily superior force. That was kind of the reference to it, but I just don't buy it. I don't think the Ewoks would have won this one.
No, it was pretty sweet though. Like those stormtroopers, you think they knew about the Ewoks on that planet? You think they'd seen one yet?
I don't know.
Because I feel like they might have, but it had to be like some shit. Like they saw 1 or 2 walking around and blasted it.
Yeah, I'm sure the scout troopers probably saw something.
Yeah, but it was that was pretty. C-3PO, they got them all captured in a circle and they're about to take them out. C-3PO is over here. We're over here. And then like they rush over there and then the Ewoks get the horns out.
The horn. Literal, they look like.
Yeah, it's a big horn.
So yeah, the fight's on. To speed it up, they get in the shield generator. Chewbacca takes over an ATST. Logs are used. It's a crazy fight.
I love the log scenes where they're just smashing ATSTs and the Ewoks, like they got the tripwire and it just starts dragging them.
We get to see Han Solo say "I love you" to Leia when she saves him when they think they're about to get blasted by a stormtrooper.
She gets hit and she's got a blaster hidden and blast both of them.
And then she gets to pull the "I know" line back on him. So bringing that full circle. And then they shut down the shield generator. We'll just get to that. The battle's long and crazy.
They blow it up.
So they blow up the shield generator and now go back to space. Lando in the Millennium Falcon with Wedge as a wingman and a couple of other A-Wings and X-Wings fly into the unfinished Death Star, into the core, to blow it up, basically. So from the inside. They don't have a thermal port to shoot at this time, which the thing has a big-ass hole in the side. Like, you'd think they could put in some heavy artillery, but I guess it was a pretty shielded core.
Yeah.
So they have to fly into the interior of the Death Star, and that's what they're doing. And it's a very cramped, tight space that they're flying through, and it's a hard-ass level in Super Return of the Jedi for the Super Nintendo. Terrible level.
I wonder, they had the schematics on the second one, too. You think they were out in the back while all that was going on, measuring the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah,
like, can we squeeze that in there?
I must say, a terrible ship to take.
Yeah.
Not only is the Millennium Falcon
it's a cargo freight.
It's a cargo freighter, but it also is an offset drive. You're not centered. You're in that little cockpit.
It was Lando's ship, though, so he probably knew
it better. But the fact that I never can get used to the fact that it's an offset cockpit. Mm-hmm. So like if I had 20 feet of fucking ship to my left, I wouldn't really know if I'm going to clear.
Yeah, I would. That's got to be terrible to like parallel park that thing or make left-hand turns.
So TIE fighters are chasing them. We see TIE fighters wreck. We see A-Wings get shot down, X-Wings wreck. And they decide, he says, split off, try to get some of those TIE fighters to follow you. And so a couple of them head back to the surface and 2 TIE fighters stay on Wedge and Lando. And they basically have to outfly them. They get to the shield generator and start to blow it up. But we need to pause there and go back to the Emperor's room on the Death Star. So Luke takes his lightsaber, tries to strike down the Emperor. Vader blocks it, and now the fight is on.
Oh, yeah.
So we get the actually extremely epic, still holds up well, even though the choreography is not the best. Actually, this is a very good lightsaber fight.
It's my second favorite lightsaber fight out of all of them.
I can believe it. It's the music is phenomenal during the fight.
I'd say, like, compared to, like, my favorite lightsaber fight, Duel of the Fates, it's definitely, I like the music more than Duel of the Fates.
I do too,
even though
actually.
Duel of the Fates is more of an epic song, in my opinion. But you feel the emotion in fucking Return of the Jedi.
I think the fact that the music is more subdued and it's not as in your face, bombastic, operatic as Duel of the Fates, it makes it better because it's just it's like a desperate song. Like you feel, like you say, you feel the emotion. Like Luke's just hacking away at Vader.
Yeah, it had to be a tough fight, and there's even like a part where they stop and he goes, "I'm not gonna fight you." Like this is he's like
I'm gonna toss this away.
Yeah, and he tosses his lightsaber away. He's like, "You failed, Your Highness." And then he's like, "Well, I got some shit right here."
Yeah, he shouldn't have thrown that away probably. And so while Vader's on the ground, he loses his arm again.
we talked about like before Luke starts getting Force lightning,
he does beat Vader.
Yeah, he beats Vader. He's just hacking at Vader, like just trying to take him out. And he cuts his arm off, and Vader's like, "Oh." Which is, you said Vader wouldn't have felt that. It's a robot arm.
It's a robot arm. I don't think
so. We come to the conclusion he was just pissed. He lost his arm.
he just say,
again.
Another one.
You know how much these things cost? Well, yeah, you do.
yeah.
Point made.
And I always wondered in that too, of the fact that is when Luke looks down and sees the wires coming out where he cut off Vader's arm, does he have that moment of what am I doing? Because he realizes, because he looks at his own hand. So he realizes that, but also like that's a moment when you realize that he's more machine, like because Obi-Wan says he's more machine than a man now. Like I wonder what was going through Luke's head when he looks at the stump.
Yeah.
If he's like more concerned about like, oh man, that just kind of brought it back into reality for me. Anyway, weird side note.
Well, you could cut off Vader's limbs and he'll still be all right. I mean, he's in that suit, you know. So I don't know.
He's like the Black Knight from Monty Python.
Yeah, it probably just caught his eye and made him think for a second, and he was like, you know, this is too much.
Yeah, I've gone over. I've done exactly what he did. So it's like I don't know. Maybe I'm going down the wrong path. So he throws his lightsaber away, starts getting Force lightning by the Emperor. I'm trying to think if there's anything. There's nothing really.
There's nothing really going on.
As far as Endor, the battle's just wrapping up.
Yeah.
It's really focused now on
the fight.
Vader and Luke and the Emperor. And so while the Emperor's just shocking the shit out of Luke, which is why we said learning how to absorb that Force like it would have been a handy dandy trick. Vader is starting to have his moment of like realizing that the Emperor's played him his whole life too. And it's like really coming back and he's like, that's my son. This guy, I'm here because this guy played me. And he decides to turn on the Emperor and he picks him up and he throws him down the generator shaft.
Yeah, throws him down the reactor where they're about to fucking bomb.
Yeah, the reactor shaft basically. And he kind of blows up in this weird blue glow of evil flame kind of thing, which is always kind of a cool touch. And then we see Luke and Vader. Basically, he's trying to get him out of there. So they're trying to evacuate. Lando now is blowing up the reactor. Him and Wedge shoot the reactor. And so it's about to start.
Death Star's falling apart. Everybody's evacuating.
It's starting a chain reaction. Death Star's going up. Luke drags Vader to a shuttle, and Vader stops him and says, you know, take off my mask. I want to look at you with my own eyes for once. And they have the whole scene of like, you saved me. I can save you. And he says, you already have, Luke. All that kind of stuff. So Vader dies. Kind of a big poignant moment in movie history, honestly. Like I said, the more I watched it, like when I watched it last night, I was like, damn, that's actually a really good scene. Everything's so good in this ending.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then they take him back for the celebration.
Yep. So they barely escape as literally the Millennium Falcon is like flying out of the Death Star as flame is chasing it, like exploding. So Death Star's going up. The fleet's moved away from it. They let the Death Star blow up again. From Endor, they see the Death Stars exploded in the sky, and we see a moment where Leia and Han are talking, and he says, "I'm sure Luke wasn't on it when it went up." She goes, "He wasn't. I know." And he's more suspicious now that she has this connection to him. So,
and he's like, "Well, if you like him, whatever, fuck yeah." And, then she's like, "No, I like you." And he's like, "Well, you could have said some shit."
Yes. It's like, he's my brother. Well, she says that at the celebration. She does tell him, but we'll get to that. So, so Luke makes it back with Vader's body, and the first thing we see is the Vader funeral, the pyre. So they light Vader's body on fire and everything with the mask and helmet on and all, and that's kind of the sad funeral for Vader, and it's just a cool scene. Doesn't it play what's the song that it's Luke and Leia's theme, isn't it?
Yeah, they play Luke. Yeah,
the one where the twin sons are setting in the New Hope. Yeah, so that's what they play while Vader's funeral's going on. Great song. And then now the celebration's on. So all the people from the fleet, like Lando and Wedge, are down there partying. A bunch of the rebels are partying with them. All the Ewoks are dancing. I guess they cooked up some stormtrooper steaks.
Yeah, they're playing drums on their helmets.
They're playing drums on the helmet.
There's 2 different Ewok songs, if you didn't know, between the original and the special edition.
I didn't know that.
There is. The special edition is Yub Nub. And there's like Yub Nub. There's that one in the special edition, and the original, I cannot remember the song. I like the original trilogy or the original song better. They just don't put it in any of them anymore.
Zelda, get down.
Calm down. We'll play Yub Nub later.
I'm doing a silence so we know when to edit. Just let her kiss you and be done with it. All right.
And so, yeah, there's 2 different songs, and I like the original one better.
Fair enough. But I'll have to give them a listen.
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube like where they played both of them or whatever, because one's longer than the other one. They like add extra scenes in the new editions.
So while the celebration's happening, we get cuts to other planets. So we get a cut to Bespin. So we see Cloud City and those people celebrating. We get a cut to what I think is Tatooine, isn't it? Which is weird that it's an outer rim planet.
I don't know if they do Tatooine. I know in the originals.
Well, I watched it again this morning, and there's a...
Is it Tatooine?
Desert-esque planet with it very much looks like Mos Espa or Mos Eisley with the curved domed buildings and everything. So I'm assuming it's supposed to be Tatooine.
They might do Tatooine. They do Coruscant. You actually see Coruscant first time in 97.
They're pulling down they have statues of the Emperor, and they're pulling them down. And then we see Naboo, and this obviously post prequel. This is what we now call the Disney version of it. It's the complete special edition plus the Disney editions. So after the prequels, they went back and added Naboo.
And the Gungan.
Yeah.
We so free.
So that's happening.
George Lucas just wanted to get a fucking another jab.
Yeah, he did. He's like, Jar Jar's still alive. So, because it sounds like Jar Jar's voice. It's not just a generic.
I don't think it's Jar Jar though. Okay. I think it's just another Gungan. It could be Jar Jar. I don't care.
You think he would be there celebrating if he's still alive at this point, and
if he's still alive,
he would be the representative to the Senate still, even though the Senate's been dissolved. Like he would be.
You don't know. I don't think he'd be still the representative. I think they'd kick his ass out. They're like, yo, you screwed us.
You voted for this guy.
You gave this guy emergency power. We didn't want that.
Yeah.
Nobody told you to do that. He told you to do that.
Also isn't. I don't know if this is before or after. I don't know if the First Order does this or if the Empire did this, but I thought they like ruined Naboo's atmosphere and stuff. Like they like caused really bad storms and stuff to hit Naboo. So that planet's looking awful good for a planet that was like devastated by the Empire. I'm pretty sure that's what the like novel say.
What'd they do? They mined plasma or something on Naboo.
They did something, but there was it's one of the projects. Like the super weapon projects. Okay. You know how they have all the code names in Rogue One?
Yeah,
for all the
like Operation Cinder and all that.
Yeah. And that was like one of them or whatever was a project for the super weapon that like caused all the like really bad storms on Naboo and ruined its atmosphere. And
dang.
Stuff. So yeah. Anyway, side note, maybe not. But and then we cut back to Endor, obviously, and we get to see all of our heroes coming together and hugging and doing good stuff. And then Leia admits to Han that. They're brother and sister, and he's all happy about that because he gets to still bang Leia now. And there's just and then finally we see Luke kind of wander off to the side of the party where everyone's dancing really badly. Wedge is dancing poorly. Yeah. I was watching it and I was like, God, that's horrible. Anyway, Luke goes off to the side and kind of leans up against the little whatever,
like a tree
house thing, and we see the Force ghosts now. So in the original. It is Sebastian Shaw and Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan and Yoda. It's also what is in the special editions, but in the Disney complete version of it, now we have Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker and his good now Force ghost, and Obi-Wan still Alec Guinness, because that's how he died, I guess. And
Yoda's actually Frank Oz now.
And
It's Frank Oz with the Yoda puppet.
The Yoda puppet smiling.
But I actually at first I didn't care that they changed it to Hayden Christensen. Mm-hmm. Now I fucking hate it.
What makes you hate it now?
Because it's like, it's not Hayden Christensen. Like, they should have just left it Sebastian Shaw. They should have just left it. I have a Sebastian Shaw action figure. I'm not kidding. Nice. But it doesn't make a lot of sense. And they try to prove it like, oh, you become you're a Force ghost when you were the most powerful in the Force or whatever.
Yeah,
see, that's bullshit. Because like, I mean, Obi-Wan was definitely not as powerful in the Force in Episode 4 than he was in Episode 3. I'll give you that right now. Episode 3 Obi-Wan will fuck up Episode 4 Obi-Wan all day long.
Also, Qui-Gon's not there. Not that he knew Luke at all, but...
Well, Qui-Gon also didn't know how to do it. If like in the Legends, Qui-Gon was the first one to figure it out. Mm-hmm. But they say this is how they write it, because Liam Neeson wouldn't come back. It's not that I don't think it was that he wouldn't come back. I think he had other scheduling things going on and it conflicted, so he couldn't come back. But he gave him lines because he's in Episode 3 as a voice, mm-hmm. but he couldn't appear to be a Force ghost. So the whole thing is he tells Yoda, he's like, "This is how you become a Force ghost. I didn't do it because I couldn't figure it out in time, but I figured it out, and this is how you do it." And then Yoda told Obi-Wan. And there's a deleted scene in Episode 3 on how he tells Obi-Wan. And then I don't know who told Vader. I guess the Emperor. But
maybe.
So I really don't know who told Vader to do it, because Obi-Wan doesn't find out until the end of Episode 3. Like in the deleted scene, he finds out on the Tantive, what is it, the Tantive 4?
Yeah.
He finds out there. So, but it doesn't make sense to me to have Hayden Christensen there, because like, he's super young, and like, just leave him the old guy. Like, I feel like it was a lot of money and a waste of time to do it. Because when I saw it the first time, I just went like, why'd they do that?
It is kind of off-putting when you first see it.
It's off-putting, but it's also like, I still don't really care that much. It's still a good ending.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I don't get angry over it, but it is awkward kind of.
But it's also like, Obi-Wan's probably like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, you get to be young.
You get to be young and handsome, and I'm old Alec Guinness.
Oh man, so that is Return of the Jedi. So yeah, I mean, now that we've talked about the whole plot, thoughts, like anything you want to say as far as side notes, Easter eggs, things we didn't talk about?
There's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie, actually. The title was originally supposed to be Revenge of the Jedi,
which they recycled for
Revenge of the Sith. They didn't end up until it was like a month before it was supposed to come out that they decided to change the name and take down the posters and put up new ones.
But there are a lot sent out to like fan club members that paid for some. So there's a lot.
Yeah, so there's a lot of merchandise that says Revenge of the Jedi on it that you can still get, and it's apparently worth a lot of money. But,
also, the original ending that George Lucas played around with was to have Luke become the new Darth Vader.
Yeah. I also want to talk about when Luke brings Vader back to burn him. You got to think there were probably a lot of rebel troops that were just like Luke was dragging him back. They're just, fuck that guy. And he's like, "That's my dead dad, guys. Can you please not?
You killed my friend in the Battle of Scarif.
He killed my father in the Battle of Scarif, so fuck him." This was originally supposed to be at the very start of things, right after Empire Strikes Back. This wasn't supposed to be the finale. This was supposed to be Boba Fett's movie. And it wasn't going to be called Revenge of the Jedi or Return of the Jedi. That was supposed to be the fourth one, if you didn't know. There were supposed to be 4 movies. But I cannot remember the reason why George Lucas decided to shorten them down.
Well, at this time, was there any series that was more than 4 movies or 3 movies?
No.
Nothing had ever done that.
No, it's not at the time. I mean,
guess. you had movies that were already out that would become, like Alien was already out, and Aliens, the sequels were, but there hadn't been Alien 4 yet, or Alien versus Predator.
Everything was pretty much a trilogy at the time.
Jaws was only Jaws 1 and 2 at the time.
I think he was kind of getting I guess he was probably getting overwhelmed with it or something. I really don't know, but this was supposed to be Boba Fett's movie, and that's why he doesn't have a lot of screen time in Empire Strikes Back. Was because the plan was for Boba Fett to have a whole movie to himself, which would be this one, where they were going to try to track down Han Solo. That was going to be the plot of the film, them trying to find Han. And I guess Lawrence Kasdan came up with a shitty script, and George Lucas is like, nah, we'll just do this. So there's that. A lot of the deleted scenes I think they should have kept in, like, because a lot of them aren't even that long, and they do add to the plot. Like, they show Luke's green lightsaber in a deleted scene before he walks into Jabba's palace. They show him, I can't remember if they show him on the Falcon or like right before he's like in a cave or some shit. And they show the green lightsaber, how he just finishes building it or something, which is pretty cool. And then they have like a scene where they're getting into the Millennium Falcon. A lot of scenes that don't really matter or mean anything that you probably could have just left in.
Yeah. But for fans who really want to take in everything they can, that's fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Vader even does mention, like, you assembled your own lightsaber, your training is complete, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But like I said, I think it's the best film just because of the emotional ending to it. It's a big payoff you get from this movie to start with the first one and watch the original 6 and go, that's how it ends.
Yeah.
Because I don't fuck with the new 3. Those are all, that's legends to me. That's my legends.
They're already trying to retcon that it's alternate history or something.
And Boba Fett's back now anyways.
Yeah.
I'm going to spoil it for you. He's back. He's got a TV series coming out. If you don't have Disney Plus, buy it.
So
Disney, hire me.
I guess we'll wrap it up with now just what I think of it. So I still think this movie is easily in my top 3. Having rewatched it last night, I almost am willing to knock Empire down a notch and put Return and Rogue One above it. Like
I'd say out of those 3, the 3 that you've done already, Rogue One is definitely number 1. It's the best shot film out of all. If you're talking like pure movie standpoint, it's definitely the best beginning to end film as far as storyline goes. I think if you look at the whole series collectively, Return of the Jedi is best.
That's pretty well said.
Yeah.
And I still think this is nostalgically my favorite movie. I mean, nothing's going to change that. I just have so many memories, good memories tied to just sitting down and watching that trilogy all the way through, and the satisfaction of that ending all coming together. You know, the emotional low of the fight between Vader and Luke, and then the emotional high of that ending with all the music and the celebration and the planets being freed and everything like that. I think, I can't beat that nostalgically. It's got to be my favorite for that reason. As a movie critic, though, like I said, there's a lot I could pick with it. Like, and also as a believability standpoint, like, I just don't like the Ewoks really that much.
You don't like the Ewoks?
I don't really like the Ewoks.
I love the Ewoks as a kid.
Luke's plan in Jabba's palace is completely just faulty to me. Like, there's things.
They're not good planners.
It is a really fun movie. That's the best I can say about it. It's a really fun movie, but if you try to overthink it, there's a lot of holes in Return of the Jedi. And that's the only problems I have with it.
Yeah, I think they did it like that mainly as from like a filming standpoint, is that way they could bring a lot of action in. Like, they were probably like, all right, let's do this so we can show this cool monster we built, and then let's do it again so we can show another cool monster we built.
Yeah. Well, also at this time, the toys had taken off.
Yeah, it was all about merchandising.
Yep, and that's how obviously George Lucas was making all his money.
Yeah,
because all his money was tied up in royalties from merchandise. So he made nothing off the movies. He gave the rights to the movies to the production companies and said, I just want all the merchandising royalties. Yeah. Genius move.
Yeah. At the very end of things, he's probably still getting paid for merchandising shit.
Yeah. So all right, I'll wrap it up there. You can find us on Twitter at Hello Tangent. You can find me at Rev Snakebite. You can find us on Twitch at Hello_Tangent. You can find my Instagram, Hello Tangent. And you can also find my Instagram, the Reverend Michael Snakebite. Anywhere you want to send them?
You can catch me in here in a couple weeks. We're going to do episode 2. It's going to be a banger.
I'm watching that one on legit DVD with all the bonus features and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I just want to talk about the weird Padme's bedrooms.
Yes. We'll get into it. I'm not even going to get into it yet. We'll save it. But thank you again, Garrett, for coming on. Like I said, we'll be doing more of these soon. Hopefully, we'll have some other content coming out on the YouTubes very soon. But thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Bye.
The first thing I'm going to say when I do Attack of the Clones, I'm going to be like, Now, this is by far not my favorite Star Wars prequel, but I'm here to tell you why it's the best.